This film is brought to you by New York Life and its dedicated agents, proud sponsors of the NFL's team highlight films. New York Life, the company you keep.
Let the mind control the body, not the body controlling the mind.
Get off of him! Get off of him! Get on down there! Move! Move it!
While the experts set modest goals for the Dallas Cowboys in 1991, the team did not. And the sounds of summer camp reverberated with equal amounts of bashing and brash predictions.
There's a great heritage here, and we can sell that to our players, that being a Dallas Cowboy in the next 1990s and being the team of the 90s is going to be a special thing.
If you went through the year virtually injury-free and did not make the playoffs, would that be a crushing blow?
It won't happen. We'll be in the playoffs.
The outlandish statements trumpeted in July became December's outrageous reality.
Let's go, Superman! Playmaker! Come get with it, play! Come get with it!
When no one else believed, the Cowboys kept a faith that was never broken. The boys of summer became men in winter and swept into the playoffs.
Waits and hangs on 3 yards deep, runs it out. Cuts at the 15, a hole at the 20. He's got the kicker to beat at the 30. He's got a block at the 40. Wright is gone. Alexander Wright got 2 blocks, 102 yards, touchdown.
I said it was a day of big plays. It's just nothing but big plays. The Cowboys are a playoff team.
Wow. Wow.
I do love it so. I do love it so.
Good job. That's way to work in there, Robert. Hell job. That's way to hang in there. That's way to hang in there. Good job, Jack. That's way to hang in there, Jack.
Would 1991 be a dark season? Would the Cowboys escape the shadows cast by the imposing teams in the NFC East? On opening day, Dallas saw the light and the season took shape against the Cleveland Browns. Troy Aikman generaled an offense that was opportunistic and decisive in the scoring zone. The 26-14 victory was followed by a crucial game with the arch-rival Redskins, a team rated by most to be the best in the NFC.
Zone 25, Aikman, handoff Smith. At left tackle, pops out to the 30, a block from Wright, gets into the 40, breaking right to the 45.
Holy cow, what a great play.
Touchdown, Emmitt Smith, 75 yards. Thank you very much.
I don't believe the run.
Although it was a brilliant display of wide-open football and a showcase for the brilliance of Emmitt Smith, the Cowboys lost 33-31.
56 is soft and going to be over the top on him. Okay, so that should be a good play for us.
A heartbreaking loss was followed by a back-breaking defeat to the Philadelphia Eagles. The 23-0 defeat to the Bully Boys in green had no silver linings. 90 yards of offense, 11 sacks, and their 8th straight loss to a bitter enemy added up to agony and self-doubt.
We ran into a wall with the Eagles, and that's when we said, oh man, we're not as good as we think we are. We got to play every game as hard as we played the Washington game, and then maybe we'll be a playoff team.
Week 4 brought clear skies and clear sailing for the Cowboys against the Phoenix Cardinals.
Aikman, handoff Smith, big hole up the middle midfield. The 40, Smith with a whole field. The 22 men chasing. Smith the 10, Emmitt Smith, 60 yards, touchdown Cowboys. Thank you very much yet again.
With a 2-2 record, the Cowboys met the Super Bowl champion Giants in a test that would determine whether they would pass or fail this season. The Giants explored all of Texas Stadium, but rarely found the end zone, as the Cowboy defense created opportunities and carved out points.
Throws it out to Jared Bunch, the rookie at the 20. Fumble! Horton picks it up. 15, 10. Horton, touchdown Cowboys!
Well, the Giants are stunned, and I think a lot of the Cowboys are, and I certainly am.
Aikman straight drop, throws right, Irvin at the 5, Irvin fighting Collins, touchdown, Michael Irvin!
Leading 21-16 with just over a minute remaining, Cowboy hopes of snapping a 6-game losing streak to the Giants rested on one play.
I mean, I called O's this football team, not just because of this game, but for a couple of other plays. It's time for Eichholt to make a play. I would think the Giants will keep picking on him on that side. He's going to have the opportunity.
Here's second down. Hostetler back to throw. No pressure. Deep to the end zone on the right sideline. The ball's intercepted by Isaac Holt.
Eichholt! You don't think that shower's going to feel better to him right now?
47 guys believing, 47 guys hanging in there for 4 quarters. Hey, super job, because you could have gotten down, you know, when they got on top of you, and you could have said, oh, here it goes again. But those days are over with. It's not going to be, here it goes again.
We finally jump over the hurdle and get the bear off our back. After that game, you know, we just said, hey, you know, we could play with anybody. We really can't play with anybody.
A winning attitude translated into victories.
A little pressure from Jeffcoat, throws it out, intercepted by Horton at the 35. The sideline to midfield, looking for a block from Brown, runs to the 20, and for the second week in a row, it is touchdown, Ray Horton.
All right, Ray, and what a play he made.
The Cowboys defeated the Packers, and then behind Pro Bowl quarterback Troy Aikman, they outgunned the Cincinnati Bengals. Defenses were left on the practice fields as both teams rolled up almost 60 points and 800 yards of total offense. The Cowboys' third straight victory reflected the depth and wellspring of youth on the team. Running back Ricky Blake was a stand-in who stood out. And for the first time in team history, the defense registered a touchdown in 3 consecutive games thanks to rookie linebacker Dixon Edwards.
And Esiason back to throw. Steps up, pass hit, intercepted Dixon Edwards at the 35. Straight shot line, high step, touchdown for the rookie Dixon Edwards. 31 yards.
The Dallas Cowboys were back, and so were their fans. Never bashful at home, Cowboy faithful crept out of hiding on the road. The fever for America's team was illustrated by jam-packed Texas Stadium, which was sold out for every home game for the first time since 1986. And while there was a parade of hits on the field, there was a hit parade in the stands as everyone joined in to jam to the Cowboys' winning beat.
Our fans have developed confidence in their team and our staff and the direction we're going out there. And consequently, that has created so much excitement in the Metroplex.
Exciting was the perfect word for Cowboy special teams, units that specialized in organized mayhem and destruction. Tasks that once seemed so routine to Cowboy opponents now became risky adventures. The team established a club record with 4 blocked punts this season. And while Cowboy special teams create turnovers, they also turned games around by scoring touchdowns on 4 separate occasions.
And they blocked it. Robert Williams in midair. Touchdown, Cowboys. Robert Williams, big play man, has put Dallas in front.
Get something down here, Chief. Kenny, stripping the ball. Gang tackle. Try to rip it out.
The defense was both resilient and relentless. The secondary included Ray Horton, Bill Bates, Kenneth Gant, Robert Williams, James Washington, and Isaac Holt. The defense was undersized, but never overmatched. Rookie cornerback Larry Brown, number 24, took wrong turns but ended up in the right places. The 12th round draft pick played like a first rounder, totally confounding both draft experts and expert receivers. What was crystal clear to every observer was the dramatic impact of Russell Maryland, the #1 pick in the entire NFL.
He's a unique individual. Whatever it takes to be at the top of his game, whatever it takes to be one of the best in his field, that's what he'll do.
We're going to put Russell in situations where we're lining him up inside or outside, prodding the football, and giving him a chance just to use quickness and leverage more than size and strength.
Maryland's quickness, feel for the game, and all-out hustle make him a natural to follow in the Cowboy tradition at defensive tackle set by former greats Bob Lilly and Randy White. The rapid development of both Maryland and Brown can be traced to Jimmy Johnson and his energetic staff, a tireless group of teachers, motivators, and innovators.
Believe in each other, make plays, swarm, pursue. And that's a great job of turning in body and sinking your shoulder in there. Hell of a job.
More aggressive on the sink technique, okay? What they're doing. No, I'm just talking in general.
Both the coaches and players would be severely tested by a series of games that began with an ugly loss to the Lions. The Cowboys rebounded with a victory over the Cardinals, and the next week they were on a roller coaster ride against the Oilers in the Battle of Texas when they ran off the rails in overtime.
Real careful with it here.
The Oilers 25, and Aikman gives it to Emmitt Smith, bounces out right, a great block from Eric Williams. He runs to the 20. He fumbles the football, and the Oilers have it at the 14-yard line.
The Cowboys have the game won, and it's the first fumble that Emmitt Smith has lost all year.
It was not meant to be a lucky Game 11 against the Giants at the Meadowlands, as the Cowboys rolled snake eyes with the men in stripes.
Giants adjust defensively. Aikman back to throw. Stands, has all day. Now runs it up. Now dumps it left flat. Emmitt Smith fumbles the ball, and it's ruled incomplete. It was ruled. No, now they give it to the Giants.
Well, the Cowboys, as you would expect, they're arguing about this and hoping for a replay. I don't think he's ever got possession.
3 losses in 4 games left the Cowboys with a 6-5 record and heading blindly toward certain disaster against the Redskins.
Well, you know, we don't need no speech today. We don't need no, we just want to play Washington. We feel we can beat Washington. And then Coach Johnson came in, he looked around, man, everybody was tense, waiting for him to say his speech or whatever to get everybody going. He just said, hey, let's go. Boom, we jumped out there on the skins, and it was all over capital punishment.
Yes, baby, yes!
Facing the undefeated Redskins, the best team in pro football, the Cowboys mustered both heart and soul and saved their season.
Willis kick to Irvin. Oh, it's an onside kick, and it's loose. And the Redskins, I think, have recovered at the 4. Wait a minute. The Cowboys have recovered an onside kick. Oh, man, they are letting out all the stops today. And 3 receivers go right. Maybe they're going to go Big Ben. Straight drop, no rush, and they are Big Benning it to the end zone. This will be a prayer up in the air, and it might be caught. It's a touchdown. It's a touchdown. Oh, Big Ben struck midnight. Oh, it's got to be your day.
But the clock almost struck midnight on the Cowboys when Troy Aikman was lost for the season.
A lot of football left. Don't worry about this. Can't go now. We'll do it again some other time, baby.
The team lost its quarterback, but not its will, as backup Steve Berline led them to victory.
And throws it left, and Irvin caught it at the 5, and he walks in, touchdown. The sweet sound of the silence in this building is absolutely stunning.
I think it's the biggest and the best Cowboys win since they beat the Giants in 1985 to win the NFC East.
Super job of working. Hey, super job of believing. just like what we talked about at practice. Hey, you know, when you ever go after a big gorilla, you don't ever hit him lightly. You hit him with everything you got.
Hey, Cowboys! Who's number one? Cowboys! Who's gonna ride his car?
The Cowboys were riding tall in the saddle when they met the Steelers in Game 13.
Facing a blitz. He stands, he throws it right. Irvin crossing, pattern, might go 45, 40, 30 to the 20. A man to beat. Woodson will get him at the 10. Irvin breaks free. Michael Irvin scores. Touchdown, Cowboys.
Triumphs over the Steelers and Saints set up a showdown with the Cowboys' bitterest foe.
There's probably been ball games where we have been intimidated, out-hit, out-physical. It was probably the Philadelphia games over the last couple of years.
Damn it, baby!
We can get the 0-4 pass!
Ken Norton, Jimmy Jones, Tony Casillas, Jim Jeffcoat, and Tony Tolbert chased down and smothered the Eagle offense.
At the 15-yard line, avoids a rush up the middle, 25, 30, a cut right at the 40, still going at midfield. Calvin Martin has brought this one all the way for a Dallas touchdown.
The Cowboys led 15-13 when the Eagles' jinx was finally broken by an 80-yard drive and 3 perfectly executed plays late in the fourth quarter.
Thunderous Philly crowd exhorting their defense. Play fake by Burline. First down pass. Novacek at midfield. Now to the 48-yard line of Philadelphia. Second down 8 Dallas. At the Eagle 41, Burline to throw. Has time. Throws to the left sideline. Irvin at the 25. Makes a move to the left sideline. Now around out into the 15-yard line. Brilliance by Michael Irvin. Brilliance.
Let's go. Oh, come on, baby. Put it away. Put it away. Put it away.
Line rolling right. Wants to throw. Chase. Throws it on the run. It's caught. It's a touchdown. Is it Michael Irvin or Michelangelo?
And that sends everybody at the vet home, and it's going to send the Dallas Cowboys to the playoffs.
We showed it. We shot it.
An incredible win. They took it to the biggest, baddest defense in the sport and jammed it right down their throat.
We did it. We came it. We did it.
The march to the playoffs was soldiered by the foot sloggers of the offensive line: Nate Newton, Mark Stepnoski, John Gizak, Mark Tuanay, Eric Williams, Alan Weingrad, Kevin Gogan, and Dale Hellestrand. There was a battering ram of a fullback named Darrell Johnston. Quarterbacks Troy Aikman and Steve Burline found an inviting new target in Alvin Harper. The immense skills of the first-round draft choice were evident to all those with a discerning eye for talent.
He gets his accomplished deserving at getting out and getting off people, what have you.
While the rookie proved a wise investment, the blue-chip hands of Jay Novacek earned him the accolades accorded in All-Pro. While Kelvin Martin and Ace Wright spiced this varied offensive mix, there were 2 main ingredients, 2 players whose futures were bonded together, whose interlocking skills lifted their team to exalted levels.
Showtime. You know what I mean?
Michael Irvin loves the heat of battle and the glow of the spotlight. But number 88 is more grit than glitz, for he plies his trade over the middle, where the meek do not inherit the turf. The playmaker gained more yards than any receiver in the NFL and contributed big play after big play during the stretch run to the playoffs.
Burline 5 steps, a bullet to Irvin over the 35 and still going, and Michael Irvin will score. Michael Irvin stops at the 1, turns around, shows him the ball, spins it in, touchdown.
What I do?
Make plays.
Nothing but make plays, baby. Give me an opportunity. Opportunity to make plays. Let's go.
Where there was Irvin, there was always Emmitt Smith. And they became the first players from the same team to lead the NFL in receiving and rushing in the same season. Smith was the Houdini of running backs, escaping the shackles and constraints of defenses, disappearing, then reappearing out of nowhere. What was not an illusion was Emmitt Smith's toughness and durability. Of the 406 rushes by Cowboy runners, Smith carried on 365 of them. In the dirty war played inside the tackles, he made the ugly yards seem pretty and the easy ones dazzling.
Runs a draw. Emmitt Smith up the middle, 25. Comes right to the 20. A block from Martin to the 10. Smith, touchdown.
Behind Smith and Irvin, the Cowboys entered the playoffs for the first time since 1985. A victory would crown this shining season.
It'll put that sweet star, you know, that sweet star in the season, just like on a nice tree, you have that nice star. It'll put that sweet star in the season. That's what we got to do. We got to win.
Got to make it all day, baby. Play. We need the ball. Turnovers and touchdowns, baby. That's what we need. Let's go. Let's go now. Ain't no feet to the front, guys. Let's go, baby. All on the line. On the show. What's that, Cowboys? What's that now, Cowboys? We here, baby. We here. We here now.
The Cowboys will have it first down and 10 at the Chicago 10-yard line.
Draw! Draw pass! Pressure! Sack him, get there, yeah!
Armed with a 5-game victory streak, which included road wins over the Redskins and Eagles, the Cowboys played the Bears in Soldier Field with the confidence of a seasoned playoff team. The defense was bone-jarring, at its best in the crunch and in the clutch at the goal line.
4th down and short at the Cowboys 2, the 13th play of the drive. Man in motion right, toss right, Neil Anderson at the 5, he's stopped at
the 4. Good work, Big Russ. Coming home, bringing it home.
Bolstered by its defense, the Cowboy offense cashed in on almost every scoring opportunity.
And off again, Smith diving over the top, touchdown for Emmitt Smith. Harbaugh with 1:12 in the game. Back to throw. Little pressure now. Hit as he throws over the middle. Intercepted by Bill Bates at the 30-yard line. Bill Bates saves the day at the 30-yard line. And the Cowboys now just kill the last minute 4, and they go home.
Although the Cowboys would drop out of the championship chase the next week, the 11-5 regular season and a 17-13 playoff victory over the Bears marked a return to glory for America's team. Led by Jimmy Johnson and Jerry Jones, the team had made the jump to the playoffs from a 1-victory season faster than any team since 1960. But numbers were not the measure of this team, for they were a team that was back among the best, a team that had returned to glory.
Hi, I'm Steve Sable. You know, it's going to be hard for the Cowboys to top the 1991 season for drama and excitement, but next year, the team will elevate their goals even higher. Now, to implement this plan, Dallas drafted wisely, selecting for need cornerback Kevin Smith from Texas A&M, linebacker Robert Jones from East Carolina, and speed receiver Jimmy Smith from Jackson State. But I think it's going to be the young, emerging players who are already Cowboys who will make the 1992 season a memorable one for Jimmy Johnson and Jerry Jones.
To be where we are today doesn't surprise me at all. We've got a lot to be encouraged about because we're doing it with very young people. The continuity of the team is quite a credit to our coaching staff and to Jimmy Johnson, our head coach. But a lot of where we are today can be, I think, credited to the enthusiasm we have for the future.
The Cowboys stride confidently into the future, a future that will be as bright as the team's glorious past. If Dallas is to take the next giant step in the playoffs, the biggest jump will have to be made by their defense. This unit is blessed with toughness and youthful exuberance, but it is one that head coach Jimmy Johnson wants to infuse with speed, and then more speed.
Defensively in particular, if you've got a fast defensive football team, I think they can run people down. I think they are able to swarm and gang tackle more so with speed.
Everybody wants to have the aggressive defenses, the hard-hitting defenses. Well, you can't be aggressive and you can't hit real hard unless you can run faster than the people that you're playing against. And I think we've increased the speed on this defense, and as a result, we're more capable of making bigger plays, we're more capable of making bigger hits, and that'll continue to get better as these young players that have speed mature and become better football players.
I think a couple of guys to watch this year with the Cowboys, especially a couple of unknown guys. Watch Leon Lett on their defensive line. He's a guy who they brought along slowly last year, came from a small college late in the draft last year. They've really got a lot of confidence in him to be one of those guys who can be kind of an inside-out player. He'll be able to really stop the run inside and to be able to get some penetration in pass coverage.
One player who already has all these attributes is number 92, Tony Tolbert. Tolbert is an emerging star in the NFL, a player who has the abilities to be an all-pro in the very near future. While a trip to the Pro Bowl is in Tolbert's future, Pro Bowl quarterback Troy Aikman must remain injury-free if the Cowboys expect to reach the next level. In his first 3 pro seasons, Aikman has not made it through an entire year without being hurt. With a healthy Troy Aikman generaling their offense, the Cowboys of 1992 will score points at will. The young quarterback has superstar weapons in receivers Michael Irvin, number 88, and tight end Jay Novacek, number 84. The player that will make the Cowboy attack truly explosive is number 81, Ace Wright. He is the fastest player in the NFL, but a player that has yet to cash in on his tremendous physical assets. While Aikman can throw bullets through bulletproof defenses, one of the largest caliber weapons in the Cowboy arsenal is Michael Irvin. He is called the playmaker because he makes the clutch play in the dramatic situations. At times, he carried the Cowboys on his back last season, and in the coming year, he will shoulder the biggest receiving load. While running back Emmitt Smith has attained the top rung as a running back, he will help his team grasp the brass ring playing in a Super Bowl. In 1992, Smith will be in only his third pro season, and it is a reasonable assumption that he will provide the same championship spark that was provided for so many years by the Cowboys' all-time leading rusher, Tony Dorsett. The 1992 season will be the year the Dallas Cowboys truly re-emerge as America's team. It will be a year when they will be treated again like royalty or rock stars. 92 will be a season where the team will travel where few thought possible, a trip taken with new stars and old heroes, a journey that will carry on the glorious tradition of the Dallas Cowboys.
It's not hard to imagine Emmitt Smith or Troy Aikman becoming as prolific as some of the great players in Cowboy history, a history that has produced enough stars to fill a galaxy. Now, two of the brightest were running back Tony Dorsett, the second leading rusher in NFL history, and Roger Staubach, Captain Comeback, the Cowboys' Hall of Fame quarterback.
The biggest thing about Roger was the fact that he never quit. It didn't matter how much the Cowboys were down. I remember in San Francisco, they were ahead of us 14 or 15 points, and it was 3 minutes to go or something, and they were coming by our bench and hollering obscene things at us and calling us losers, and I'll never forget, Roger pulled the game out, and a few seconds before it was over, completed a pass to Lee Folkens, and we beat him. And that was the greatest comeback I'd ever seen, but he did it over and over and over throughout the years.
I believed that Roger was going to win every game that we played in, no matter how much time was left in the ballgame. I always believed that Roger could win the game.
Well, the Cowboys need a miracle. Roger takes the snap, bumps it once. He's going long, down the near sideline for Drew Pearson. Pearson makes the catch at the 5, touchdown! Staubach hit Pearson on a 50-yard touchdown. Would you believe it?
The greatest thing about Roger Staubach was he was a tremendous competitor. You could not do anything with Roger. I don't care what you were doing, whether you were just taking a 40-yard sprint or you were playing one-on-one basketball, he's not going to let you beat him. I don't care what the stakes are, whether it's just for fun. That's what made him great.
Like all quarterbacks, Roger Staubach had an intense desire to win. And like all the great quarterbacks, he could communicate that desire to his receivers, often lifting them above their normal capabilities. Staubach had a certain sense of confidence in himself and in the team that caught the imagination of players and fans alike. Part of him was as sweet and as innocent as a choir boy. But the part of him that was a football player was a pure killer.
I tell you, when I went out against other teams, they were the enemy. I mean, I didn't like them, and I didn't particularly after the game go over and want to shake everybody's hand either. I mean, I wasn't a poor sport, but heck, that's, you know, those guys are the guys that you need to play again. You need to beat them again, and you can't get too close to your enemy.
More than a quarterback, Roger Staubach was a leader. It was his character and courage, rather than his talent, that carried him beyond the playing field and into the realm of popular myth. He was the White Knight of the Cowboys' Camelot, the Galahad of the gridiron, who was as flawless off the field as he was on it.
Roger, you have an all-American image. You're kind of a straight guy. Do you enjoy it, or is it a burden?
You interviewed Joe Namath. Everyone in the world compares me to Joe Namath, you know, as far as, you know, the idea of off the field. He's single, bachelor swinging, I'm married and family, and, you know, he's having all the fun. And
You know, I enjoy sex as much as Joe Namath. Only I do it with one girl, you know?
There you go.
But it's still fun.
It wasn't his deal to go hang around bars and chase women or anything like that because, you know, he had a family. He was a solid person. His teammates respected him for that because they knew he wasn't a phony.
And I remember one time we were in a meeting and everybody was dipping snuff or chewing tobacco, you know, and Roger, to be one of the guys, you know, he wanted to dip a snuff, so I gave him some snuff.
And so he took what Walt would call an association dip, a rodeo association dip, which means a handful of this stuff, and he stuck it in his mouth there. And
I got sick. I put it in my mouth and I started swallowing some of that stuff. And so I went in this team meeting and I started getting sick and I started sweating. And I sweated so much it just dripped right on the desk. And I wanted to get out of there, but I knew they were looking at me, but the film was going on, it was dark, and they knew I was probably getting sick because I had never had it before. So I didn't want to get up until the film went off and we got a break.
And we got a sliding glass door in this meeting room, you know, and Roger, he jumps up, goes over, and there's a bunch of rose bushes and stuff out there. And so he just, you know, pukes his guts out, and he comes back, and he's still white, you know, and he sits there for a little while longer, and directly, out he goes again, you know. And Coach Landry said something to the effect that don't ever give Roger any more tobacco, you know.
It's true that Tom Landry called the plays, but Staubach's quick decisions under pressure often made him personally responsible for the Cowboys' success. Always cornered but never conquered, Staubach won the respect of friend and foe alike.
We used to have a saying on the defensive line that we're going to sacrifice our body for the team, and we knew that Roger would sacrifice his body.
I had nothing but the utmost respect for Roger Staubach. He was tough, you know, he took a lot of big hits, but he was one of those guys that always got up and dusted off the seat of his pants and went back in the huddle, never cried, never complained, never rolled around on the ground looking for a flag or anything like that.
When you're knocked down, you either can lay there and not do anything about it, or you get up and do something about it. And I used to like to bounce back also. I mean, I used to like to sometimes be down and have people stepping on me a little bit so I could, you know, kind of recoil and come back.
No player swashed so brave a buckle as the daring midshipman from the Naval Academy. He was an officer and a gentleman. He was a man you trusted instinctively, whose every word you believed, for whose reputation you would fight, and whose friend you longed to be.
Roger Staubach would be what every parent wanted their son to be. He is the epitome of a gentleman. He's the epitome of a guy who commits himself to a cause. I've got more respect for him as an athlete than anybody I've ever played with or coached.
I just don't know, of all the years I played, I just don't know of any player that I played with that disliked Roger Staubach.
There's certain guys you look at that you played against, and I'm proud to tell my kids I played against Roger Staubach.
Roger Staubach, more than an athlete, more than a celebrity, he was a hero.
He can find the open crack, and once he hits that crack, if he has daylight, there's not too many people in pro football that will be able to catch him.
The handoff goes to Dorsett, dances into the secondary, and heads left. The 30, comes right. To the 50, to the 40. He's going to score an 84-yard touchdown. Tony Dorsett, 84 yards.
I
big play guy, the kind of guy that you'll get down in there, and then boom, 40 yards, 50 yards. He kind of slips and slides, and then when he sees it, he's gone. He's got that kind of acceleration.
Down to the 30, breaks to the right, 35, 40, still on his feet, at the 50, one more block, he might go. He's at the 30, he's being chased at the 20, the 15, the 10, a 75-yard touchdown run for...
He's been, surprisingly enough, he's a better north-south runner than he is east-west runner. He has great feel and recognition when he heads into the line as an inside runner. But you don't think about him being an inside runner because he only weighs 190 pounds. But it's his great acceleration and speed that makes him what he is today.
If you ever watch me play, you'll see when I get a ball, my eyes, they light up like silver dogs. And I'm just looking at everything, and I do see a lot out there. Running a football is instinctive. It's all creative, it's all impromptu, and things are happening very, very quick. And my vision helped me, I think, survive for 9 years in the NFL.
I've got a real unique view of him as a running back. I mean, a literal view from the football field that not many people get to see. I see him hitting the holes, and I see the holes opening and closing, and I see the kind of adjustments he makes. I might be able to make the same adjustment mentally. To do it physically and to be able to combine the two is a tremendous gift, and Tony's got that.
On the fast tracks around the National Football League, Tony Dorsett is the Ferrari of running backs, possessing a passing gear others only dream about. A gear that speed shifts him into the express lane of easy touchdowns. But it is his ability to break, corner, and spin out of trouble that has allowed the sleek, low-slung Dorsett to become only the 6th running back to rush for 10,000 yards. Yet his critics say Dorsett's high-gloss finish conceals a chassis unwilling to take high-speed collisions.
The line on him is the fact that somewhat the same line they had on Franco Harris for so long, is that when he got close to the sideline, he'd run out of bounds.
I think that's kind of a bad rap because Tony is a powerful runner, and he knows when to take a shot and when not to. Now, he's not the kind of runner that's going to run over anybody, really, but he breaks a lot of tackles.
We've hit him, I think, about as hard as you can hit him, and he keeps coming back. That seems to be a constant, you know, he keeps saying, well, some guys, well, we're going to knock this guy's out of there, but hey, you can't knock him out. He's going to come back the next play and may beat you on the very next play. His history against us has been, you stop him, you stop him, you stop him, you stop him, and boom, he's gone for 40 or 50.
I'm not a bulldog type of runner. I didn't come into this business being a bulldog type of runner. I'm a runner that you, your grandmother, or someone else could probably enjoy watching because it's something exciting that's possible to happen at any time on the field. The things that I do, the God-given talents that I have, I think people kind of take them for granted. And one guy can make them look a little more easier than another person, and you know, people kind of say, well, that's just Dorsett, you know, that's just his way of doing things, and I think probably over the years I've just been taken for granted.
Goal line defense for the Vikings, a handoff, Dorsett up the middle, here he goes, cuts to his right, going all the way, to the 30, to the 40, he's got 2 men to beat, to the 40, to the 30, to the 20, to the 10, to 5, touchdown! In the record books, 99 yards.
When you look back on it and see Tony Dorsett's name at the top of every running list that was ever compiled, you'll realize how great a running back he really was and is.